Well, welcome to our weekly Greenleaf Connect event as we start our summer lunch and learns. Today, we're going to discuss some really fun stuff, at least I think so, about public speaking and presentation skills. Now, this stuff doesn't come easy, and it always helps to have some tips and pointers when it comes to the topics of public speaking and presentations. We all know that at some point in time, we're going to be in a position where we'll need to speak to a group or make a presentation. So we hope that you find the discussion today insightful and helpful. Before we get started, we like to begin with our purpose here at Greenleaf Connect, which is to hold a weekly forum for us to get together and talk about all things Greenleaf. Greenleaf Connect creates a space for us to be direct, informative, and build transparency for our audiences on specific and important topics like the ones we'll discuss today. We also like to review our rules of engagement for our time together. So first, you can change your presentation view by moving the slider between the presentation and the speaker to make either one bigger or smaller. We do ask that you mute yourself during the presentation portion of our meeting to avoid any feedback as we present. And we will hold a live Q&A session at the end of the presentation, so just have your questions ready for us. And a friendly reminder, the session is being recorded and will be made available on the Greenleaf Connect Workplace page for future reference. Because we are hosting on a Friday, normally we post our recording on a Friday, but we will now post the recordings on Mondays. So on our agenda today, I will discuss the lovely fears of public speaking, some strategies to help you with public speaking, a few presentation pointers on do's and don'ts for public speaking and presentations, and provide you with some resources, and most of them are free, which is nice. And always we'll close out with our Q&A and some important upcoming dates. So we're going to dive right in. So first, everyone has them. Even the most experienced speakers and presenters have fears of public speaking. So some of those fears can be failing, just overall not doing well in the presentation, forgetting what you're going to talk about, so forgetting the content, looking nervous or insecure, getting judgment from others in the audience or whoever you're speaking with. And of course, the unexpected, like having to do impromptu speaking or a Q&A session where you don't know what's going to be asked. And of course, time, like either having to fill up too much time in a presentation or feeling like you're running out of time. And then, of course, there's technology. So it's not just standing up in front of a room. Now we have all of these gadgets like Zoom, where you're having to click and point and let people in a room when you're trying to do a presentation. So technology can certainly be overwhelming when it comes to public speaking. So let's talk about how we can actually diffuse the fear of public speaking. So first, whatever your fear is, you have to face it. And when you face it, you'll know how to deal with it. So the number one solution to the fear of public speaking is what will take away the fear of it. So your body creates chemicals when you're in fear mode, and these chemicals can actually help you be more focused. So in a sense, the very fear of presenting can actually produce these chemicals to make you better. So most of the time, you think you're more nervous than you really are because of all these chemicals that are going on in your body when you're nervous or you have that fear of public speaking, but they're actually going to help. So also try imagining the worst thing that can happen. So what? You might forget your content. Maybe you look a little bit awkward, but that's okay. You know, we've all been there. It's really not the end of the world. You're going to learn from it. And it's important to remember that if you're learning, you're not failing. Rehearse, rehearse, and rehearse again. We're talking about the 3 P's of public speaking. So that's plan, produce, and perform. So before you perform, you make sure you have a plan and produce. Your preparations and rehearsals should take at least 10 times longer than your actual performance. So we all know the more that we practice, the better that will be, the more comfortable we'll be when it comes time to actually have our performance. So you want to learn about the technicality of a presentation. So this is like your room setup, what types of microphones, and yes, some of us present in rooms where there's lights and projections and a clicker that you hold to change your slides. where you'll stand on a stage or in the room. And you're going to want to do all of this so that when it comes time for your presentation, you're not worried about those things. Because the more you familiarize yourself with the speaking environment, the more comfortable you're going to be, and the less you have to focus on those things that are outside of the content of what you're actually presenting. And do not forget that the audience is there to support you. They do want you to do well. And often we think that it's the exact opposite, right? That everyone out there is just waiting for us to mess up. But when we become aware of this reality that they want us to do good, your reality will look different as a result. And talk to someone who knows how to help you. So this is so fundamentally important. You can find those people who you believe are willing and able to help you become better at public speaking. And that can also come in the form of helping you practice and watching you practice and giving you positive feedback sense for you to be able to find out what you need to do to improve your presentation. So now we're going to move into some key presentation do's and don'ts. So these are good. So do stay concise. The biggest rookie mistake that everyone makes is to copy and paste all the information you're going to talk about onto your slide. Not only is this incredibly boring, but no one's going to have the time or inclination to read a wall of text that you've posted. So you don't want to turn a presentation into a book. There's no hard rule, but a good general principle is to limit yourself to about 5 words per line and 5 lines per slide. What you don't want to do is overdo the special effects. While it can be fun to play with all the bells and whistles in the presentation programs like PowerPoint, too often these just end up being distractions to your audience. And then avoid overusing like animations and the flashy transitions between slides. Now you can do sound effects, busy backgrounds, drop shadows on your text, really funky fonts, like all of this stuff. Just if it's not there to make your presentation clearer or the information that you're presenting clearer, you should just avoid it. Do use some humor because the format is so well established and we've all seen thousands of them. Even the best presentations can struggle to actually engage an audience, which is what a real speaker wants to do. So don't treat a presentation like an open mic night, though, at a comedy club. An occasional comic, snappy pun, or amusing anecdote will liven things up and can make your argument more memorable in the end. And then don't just read the slides. Your audience can read as well. They don't want to have all the words on the screen read back to them word for word. Your slides should support an oral presentation, not just reiterate it. And know the material well enough that your bullet points will jog your memory of the finer details that you're going to talk about. So this is really helpful if you get lost in your notes. You can just look up at the screen at your bullet point and then just keep going. And speaking of looking up, do look up. Even if you're just reading from the slides and are just referring to them, you should still look up now and then to maintain eye contact with your audience. How else are you going to know if they're still awake as you're talking? And then don't rush. You want to give your audience ample time to read everything that you have on the slide, but you don't want to delay so long that you lose their attention. You also don't want to start speaking as soon as you go to the next slide. You want to give them a few moments to scan what you have on the screen and get ready to hear what you're about to say. And likewise, you don't want to hit to the next slide as soon as you finish discussing the current one that you're on. You want to give your audience time to digest the information and check out what's going on for you to like scan the room and see, are they ready to move on? Do be bold and direct. So don't be worried about using some bold colors or sharp contrast in your presentation. This can enhance legibility, but it also can create emotion and energy in your actual presentation. But again, just don't be so bold and direct that you're distracting, that your presentation is distracting to the audience. Similarly, when it comes to fonts, bigger is always better. A point size of about 18 is just about the bare minimum that you want to use. So you try to shoot for something closer to like the mid or upper 20s. And also bear in mind that sans serif fonts are considered more legible at big sizes or easier to read on the screen. Don't rely on clip art. So especially in creative fields, people will notice that clip art that doesn't quite fit sometimes. So you want to make sure that you pull images and videos that are highly relevant and help drive your point home, more so in an appealing way versus just trying to have something graphically on the screen. So do save handouts for the end. There's some debate about this one. Some authorities believe that following a handout will help improve the audience recall the information that you're talking about, but others believe that it just pulls awareness away from you, the presenter. So attendees, they already have the constant threat of phones and other technologies there to distract them from what you're talking about. So you don't want to give them anything else that might overshadow the main event, like a handout, because you want to be the center of attention at all times. So make your case, make it well, and then provide maybe some supplementary materials for them to look over at their leisure at the end of the presentation. Don't overuse statistics. So no one needs to see all the raw data behind what you're presenting. They want you to actually synthesize everything for them and talk to them about that. So slides overloaded with too many facts and figures, people are just going to tune them out. So if you do have a stat, though, that you think is really important to the story that you're telling, try to at least format it in a visually interesting way, like a simple chart or a graph. Do use bullets and numbered lists. So we as humans process information better when it's organized in discrete chunks. So you want to take the information out and break it down into major sections, and then possibly break those sections down into subsections. Information should flow in an orderly fashion and be extremely easy to understand and digest. That's the most important about a visual presentation. And you want to progressively release bullet points. I'm actually not doing that. Again, that's one of those technology things that with one person driving, sometimes it's hard to just keep clicking through as you're talking about points. But a progressively released bullet point list. So as I was talking about each one, that's when they would show up on the screen. This can be helpful and useful in keeping the audience on track of actually where you are in the presentation, but hopefully I haven't lost you guys yet. And don't be afraid to take a pause. So you don't want to run through your slides unceasingly. So some presenters do leave questions at the end, like we do here at Greenleaf Connect, but others will allow questions at any time in a presentation. So you just got to be a little careful there, because if a question does arise during your presentation that causes digression kind of from where you are, you might want to consider pausing the presentation or taking it off the screen. This will help the audience kind of follow along where you are and not get lost based on what's on the screen versus what you're currently talking about. Okay, so those are our do's and don'ts. And now we have some resources here on the screen to help you improve your speaking and presentation skills. All of these are free. So first and foremost, we have Kudo. Most of you know what Kudo is. That's our professional development platform, which I'll plug at the end of this presentation as well. But there are several great courses on there regarding public speaking, and then also presentation programs like PowerPoint. So if you want more information or training on how to use that and set the presentation up, you should definitely take advantage of those Kudo courses. Then there's Toastmasters International. Some of you may have heard of this before, but Toastmasters has been helping people become better presenters and speakers for years. It's worth it to see if there's a local Toastmasters class in your area. I know there's tons in Atlanta, so just depending upon what city you're in or if you want to go to the Atlanta classes. But they offer a lot of other professional development resources, like free tips from accepting awards and creating sales pitches. And if you go to their website, there's a public speaking tips page that you can check out. Then there are lovely networking events. So you might think, oh, why is a networking event a public speaking resource? But at many networking events, you're asked to give a quick elevator pitch of like what you do or where you're from. And so this can be great, inexpensive way for you to overcome your nerves and fear due to speaking in front of people or in a group. And so the more you practice on your public speaking skills, of course, the better that you'll be. And not to mention that you'll have the opportunity to network with like-minded individuals. Then we have TED Talks. So you're likely familiar with TED's slogan, ideas worth spreading. And TED has grown in popularity in recent years, and many cities now have local TED events that you can attend. So to study and hone your presentation of public speaking skills, I suggest watching some of the TED Talk videos. And then if you can, attending a TED event in your area. Then, of course, we have self-evaluation. Now, this is a great low-cost way to improve your presentation and speaking skills. So what you can do is you can do this yourself or have a friend just record you on a camera. You can be in front of a practice audience or even just do this by yourself. But this will help you kind of see your body language and what it's saying about you, how your voice sounds, the type of expressions that you make. And so once you record it, you can watch it and give yourself some self-criticism and find some ways to improve, because we all know that practice makes perfect. Okay, well, this does conclude our presentation for today, and we will now open it up to the group for questions. You can use the raise your hand feature, which is located under the reactions button at the bottom of your screen. You can unmute yourself, turn your video on, and I'll do my best to get your questions answered. You can also place your question in the chat box if you prefer, and I'll get that answered as well.
I have a question.
Sure, go ahead.
So this question is for you specifically, Natalie. What was the hardest part of public speaking for you? Like, what did you find most challenging?
Goodness. Well, some background on me, both my degrees are in communication. So as far as public speaking, it's something that I've been forced to do, I think, since my freshman year in college. And also my dad was a minister. So I grew up watching my dad present every Sunday in a group. For me, it really is the nerves. No matter how many times I've given a presentation or who I'm giving a presentation to, I still get nervous. I'm really envious of Dave. Like when Dave presents, it's like he has no nerves. I know if you ask him, he probably says he's nervous, but you cannot tell one bit. So as far as that pointer of rehearse, 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 I practice a lot and kind of try to know my presentation backwards and forwards. A big thing is, like I said, getting lost in a presentation. Like that's the worst thing that you can do, is that, you know, you have to follow your notes word for word, or else you can't give the presentation. Your audience is going to know it.
Thank you. That was
You're
good.
welcome.
Thank you.
Melody, you have a question?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Have you ever tried Toastmasters?
I have not, but I've had a lot of friends do it. I think even Nathan has done it, I believe. But I've heard it's really, really great.
Yeah, I was gonna go, but I'm actually too shy to even go because I'm really shy of public speaking.
But like that's the point.
I guess I just wanted to bring that up, that I'm too shy to go in the first place.
So, well, a pointer I have there is maybe find somebody else to go with you. But that is that a lot of people say that, and Toastmaster forces you in that out of your comfort zone, and they're really great at giving you those tips and tricks on how to have those kind of one-off conversations, and again focused in certain areas depending upon what you're trying to improve on. So I have heard it's a great resource. So maybe we can find some people in the group and go together.
All right, yes, a buddy system. I like this idea. Okay, that's all I have to say.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Next, we have our upcoming dates here on the screen. So again, like I said, this recording will be made available on Monday afternoon, and that will be for throughout the summer, all recordings on Mondays. A reminder about our volunteer events. So we do on Tuesday have our Fire Station 16 landscaping and painting project. That's going to be from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Over near Fairway. And so all the information is in the calendar appointment that you've been invited to on Tuesday. If you haven't already and you want to come, please do sign up using the sign up form link in the calendar appointment. That's just so we can coordinate lunch and all of that good stuff for you when you're going to be there. Then a reminder about Camp Greenleaf, which is going to be held at Park Hill. This is our first year doing this, so we're so excited. This is going to be Tuesday, July 26th through Thursday, July 28th. That's 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. for those few days. There is also a volunteer sign up form in the link in the calendar appointment, there's a link there that you'll need to complete. We have to get some information from you. If you do have a special skill or an activity that you would like to do with the kids, you can also use that form to sign up for something. And Josh and Stephanie are coordinating all of that. So they'll be in touch with you based on what you put in the form. Then on Thursday, the 16th, we have a round 2 of our bowling tournament. So just get ready for that. Kat sent out that calendar invite and we'll be sharing further details about which teams are playing each other. And then a friendly reminder about Kazoo, which is our new survey and recognition system. Reese is hard at work at getting that implemented. So we should see that rolling out here later in the summer. Then we have our Greenleaf Connect scheduled next Friday. We continue our summer lunch and learns, and that's going to be with Stephanie, who's going to review SMART goals, setting and tracking. So don't miss that one. And then our new marketing and communications coordinator, Lauren Cole, who's on this call with us, is going to close out the month with a presentation on creating and maintaining an online presence. We all know in this technology era how important that is. So we do hope that you join us for these sessions throughout the summer. And last but not least, like I told you, my plug for Kudo. This is our professional development program that's free to you. You should have a login. If not, reach out to me. Happy to set it up for you or show you around the system. And a reminder that the Kudo will be a part of the Kazoo point system. So don't be afraid to go ahead and start that because we will give you points for anything that you've completed in the past. That does conclude our presentation for today. So we definitely appreciate you joining us and we hope to see everyone next Friday. So thanks again and enjoy your day.